So the next video and the last substantive video in my series on how Canadian municipal government works is a case study of Northern Ontario. And I can just see people going, Northern Ontario, why do we care about this? Well, a number of different things. And I pose some very interesting policy challenges for municipalities in Canada. First of all, Northern Ontario makes about 88.4% of the land mass of the province of Ontario, depending how you calculate it. The Muskoka region is calculated federally as part of Northern Ontario, but provincially it's not. Mr. McGuinty actually changed that. But in general, it's 88.4 to about 90% of the land mass of Ontario. However, most of the land mass, 92.9%, is unincorporated. There's no incorporated municipality for that part. So you do have a large percentage of unincorporated municipalities. The other interesting thing about Northern Ontario is that you have very weak single-tier municipalities being the only municipalities in Northern Ontario. There's 5 separated cities which function very similar to cities in Southern Ontario. Sudbury, Sault Ste. Marie, Timmins, Thunder Bay, North Bay. There we go, that's 5. But most of Northern Ontario municipalities are very weak in governance, and a number of different local service boards, such as the District Social Services Administration Board, the DSABs. If you've never heard of a DSAB before, you are not the only one. Most of Ontario haven't heard about the DSABs. DSABs are the social service boards, so they do things like housing, social housing, social assistance, including Ontario Works and Ontario Disability Support Programs. Daycare supplements. In some cases, they're even responsible for fire protection, ambulance, stuff like that. The other interesting board is the Local Services Board. In most of the cases, they're responsible for fire protection, road maintenance, ambulance services, even though that's about half and half. What else are they responsible for? Like solid waste collection. All those services which, in order to create an economy of scale, you do need a bigger level for. And these two boards are interesting because they're not really forms of municipal government. They're local government special purpose bodies. The DSABs and the local service boards are actually yearly boards. They're not to a set term like council. They hold an annual meeting every year, and at the end of that annual meeting they elect the board. The other interesting thing is for local, just making sure I get this right, there's one type of board, I believe it's local service boards, that charges a levy like taxes, but you actually don't have to pay it. I would seek legal advice before deciding not to pay one of these, but I think it's the local service boards that you do not have to pay. So throughout Northern Ontario, it's vastly unincorporated, and the other thing is that 53% of the population lives in those 5 major cities. So more than half the population in Northern Ontario lives in those 5 cities. Contrast that to 89 municipalities out of 132 municipalities have population under 2,000. And the example I always love to give, as just to show how interesting Northern Ontario is take a look at St. Joseph's Island, this south of Sault Ste. Marie. The island is not big at all. The island has 4 municipalities on it, and I'll name them with their population. So I'll begin with St. Joseph's Island, which has a population according to the last census of 1,129 people. There's Hilton, Ontario, which has a population of 243 people. Joycelyn Township with a population of 277 people. And finally, Hilton Beach with a population of 172 people. Keep in mind, all four of these municipalities are fully functioning municipal corporations. They have their own council, their own elections, and they're like any other municipality in Canada. They have the right to do things municipalities are assigned. The other interesting case is that there's a number of municipalities in Northern Ontario with extremely low population in the middle of nowhere. I always like the example of Cockburn Island. If you don't know where Cockburn Island is, think Thessalon. If you don't know where Thessalon is, think between Sault Ste. Marie and Blind River. Thessalon has a population of around 3,000, I believe. Cockburn Island is a small island off it. It has a permanent year-round population of 2. And no, you did hear that right, 2. Its municipal offices is in the clerk's basement in Thessalon, because under the Municipal Act, you are allowed to have your municipal offices in an adjacent municipality. The municipal council meets in Thessalon Village Hall, and its permanent population is 2. It does have a relatively high summer population. I believe it's like 300, 400 people, but its year-round population is 2. So what do we do about Northern Ontario? Because obviously there's a case for reform, but obviously the approaches of the South, amalgamate, is not going to work with such a vast population. Well, I propose 2 things. The first thing I propose is amalgamation of the smaller adjoining municipalities. For example, St. Joseph Island has 4 municipalities on it. It could be 1, and you can actually have it would actually have a population around 2,000 people, which would actually be enough to do something. The other thing I advocate for is the abolishing of the DSABs and local service boards or local roads boards, and creating some sort of regional government for the regions. Obviously, the approach of the South to have municipal government in the South that you have upper lower tier isn't going to work. So what I would suggest is looking maybe at the British Columbia model of regional districts, where you have each regional district deciding what services to be offered according to local circumstances. Or maybe looking at the Quebec model of regional county municipalities, where you have a regional county wherein the region, for those parts of the region that has no incorporated municipalities, the regional county municipality acts as the local municipality. But there is definitely a need for change, and Northern Ontario has for too long been ignored. And you have a municipal system which is not only hopelessly complex, under-democratic for those who live in unincorporated area, and creates massive diseconomies of scale. So that's my case study on Northern Ontario, and I have the future of municipalities on Monday, which I kind of look forward to. I have no clue what I'm going to say yet, but I'll think something up over the weekend. Ciao!